Yes. Thank you. Thank
That's right. The bacterial.
Good, welcome back, everybody. Thank you. Are we good to go? Are we recording?
Yes. For the chair.
No idea where it's to. 4.215, 4.1. Could I get a mover and a seconder, please, for item 4.1 to receive Delhi and Peter? Thank you. Ed, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, I hand it over to you.
Well, through the chair, if I can take the report as read, it's a licence to occupy for a private wastewater system that would be within road reserve that will be vested to council upon completion of the development. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions, discussion? Delhi and then Terry, please.
What is the risk to council?
There is zero risk to council. The developers have set up their own private water company. The system has been checked and has been designed and built to current standards. At the end of the day, if the private water company were to go into liquidation, which is unlikely because the contribution to the water company is part of the sale of the individual plots. If it were to go into liquidation, we would be in a situation where we have a functioning private wastewater system within road reserve. Council would probably have to take that over for the public good. At that time, it would be a normal process.
Yes, just so the design of this is this like a small water wastewater plant with a basement for all the stuff coming. You know, how's the design on this? How big is it?
It's you'll have to, through the chair, you'll have to bear with me on this one. It's something that I've not gone fully into the details on. But my understanding is that it's a gravity-fed system.
Battery.
The actual system itself is what's called a macerator, which basically chews up the foul sewage. It then goes to a settlement tank that needs to be cleaned on a regular basis, and the overflowing effluent then goes through an effluent garden and disposes through filter pipes into the ground.
Can I just say here, at all the time and that we spent in trying to get our governance team focused on governance, and here we've got a deputy mayor asking a roading manager about the details of a wastewater treatment plant, and I could not let that go without commenting on the irony of this. So I'm not sure that we should pursue this discussion any further. Red is here simply because it's on roading reserve, but I think we should stop there.
Just know about it because it's not something we buy.
Can we take it outside the meeting, please?
Yeah, page 227 of your packet does have a scheme plan.
Oh, God. Once an engineer, always an engineer. Ed, thank you so much. Any further questions? All right. Well, from all those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ed. I couldn't let that one go by. All right. So we'll come to item 5.1, Chief Executive report. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please, to receive the report? John Graham and Peter, and we'll hand over to Hayden. Thank you.
Okay, so just before we make Hayden get up with his crutches, is there anyone who actually wants to go into the detail of the financials, given you've received a financial update a bit earlier in the report? Yep. So the only thing I just want to point out is there is a little bit of a revenue story there, isn't there, Hayden? Just and don't get your crutches, just stay there. There's a little bit of our revenue from our user fees and charges is down, which is expected. but it'll be interesting to see how that tracks through the coming financial year until we get the road open again. So until that road's open and our visitors are back, we would expect our revenue to be down a little bit. But interesting that it's not that huge. So clearly our user revenue, we're not doing that good a job actually by the look of it, of getting fees and charges for from external visitors, because it's not that big an impact.
Yeah, through the chair, that's the roads. It's visitor numbers. Yeah.
Other interesting thing, Lagoimas, we've had a huge amount of Lagoimas. They're absolutely huge, but they're now back under control, which is good. So that just shows the massive demand there's been on our on staff through another avenue of information seeking. We put the customer service data in there, which was a request from councillors, and again that shows just that, you know, the huge amount that we've had on our plates. I had hoped Lorna would be here today, but she's had a personal issue that she's had to take some leave for. She was going to come and speak to the RFS system. I do have a couple of technical emails about what's happening in the background around our RFS system. So we are looking at trying to advance a project to close the loop. And although that sounds really simple, close the loop is 3 words, it's actually a huge amount of backroom projects that we have to do to get the IT system to be able to do that. And it does sit in the queue behind updating our finance system, which is super important. And we have some other projects coming in behind it that are also a priority, and particularly our document management system. But the team are talking about where it's going to sit in the priority list to get that done.
Did you want to carry on with a summary, or do you want to take questions?
I just wanted to talk about the site, the
Can we come back
grants,
to you,
but-
Peter?
Yeah, that's fine, as long as we remember.
We'll write down your name.
We might not remember.
I'm happy to take that now because it's probably an IT related one.
When will we be able to get a projected date? You would say the RFS system is fixed.
We haven't got a projected date. So you're asking for a date for me to give you a date. I'm not actually sure. Lorna could probably answer that if she was here, but shall we try and aim for the next council meeting?
Could I just say, it would be helpful to know, just like we know when state highway 25 still, because I think the RFS system does create a lot of noise.
It does.
Us as councillors.
Yep. Okay, so the recovery update talks about the transport network. So we've just done that this morning, which is super exciting. And I had to say, I've only just warmed up. It was really cold up there. So just on the grants, so there's one that hasn't yet been announced, but so I won't share any of the details around that, but it was in an email I sent you last week. But we are now up to 11.8 million in support that's come through, not all to us. In fact, most of that is passed through. Most of that has been a cost to us to pass through to the community. But that's not looking too bad. The latest announcement, the latest grant that came through Friday was at 900K, and that's spread across 2 years, and that's to support our recovery function. So that means we can bring in some extra capacity into our recovery. So in particular, we've got 2 social navigators operating, and they are picking up quite a bit of the connection with the community, particularly around they can pick up the placarded property liaison. So we're just trying to join the dots in the back room between the technical folk and the social navigators who will be supporting people, and just trying to translate the language from technical to the interface, so that people can understand what's going on in the back room. So we also, Stephen is funded out of this money, and we have a recovery officer being funded as well, which as we come back into business as usual, they will transition into our community development team, that's pretty exciting, and it's funded for a 2-year period. Other things, so the visitor marketing and promotion 200K, that is in draft. We've got a draft document coming through for that. And we have the 300K that's come through for the business associations that we just need to tie down contracts with the business association for each of that. So that's all pretty exciting. I'm really pleased with that.
Can I just clarify Aileen, with visitor marketing, is that going through Destination Hauraki Coromandel or is that coming through us?
It's coming to us,
Okay.
but we're working really closely with this nation, Coromandel Code, so we'll work through those
So that
mechanics.
200 will be for Thames Coromandel
Not
or
necess-
for Hauraki as well?
It depends how we're still in that negotiation as to what that's gonna look like. Yep. It's more about which organisation will it go to
Mhm.
and what the deliverables are going to be. And there's fish hooks in every one of these contracts that come through government. So I'm not sure, Bruce, did you want to update anything from your review meeting of relevance to council?
Through the chair, the only other stuff I would add is that we did get an answer back yesterday from DIA regarding our changes. As I put in that top paragraph, the process is left to submit everything through to them. So we were waiting for that and we got that late yesterday afternoon. Cabinet said you're comfortable with the changes that we've made as a result of the annual plan. That's good. So yeah, so it's,
Sorry, Bruce, just to clarify, that's the 3 waters changes,
yeah, so sorry.
which we have to run through
Exactly.
DIA.
The process at the moment, the way the legislation is set up, any changes that you make to your 3 waters budgets in the lead up to this change of the entities, you have to submit those changes to the term affairs, and then they can either approve or not those changes. And so we've submitted everything through. It took a while, and eventually we got it yesterday. They said, yep, they're comfortable. There's no more information required. So that's a good. That's a good thing. So,
And just a quick one, if you can, the Coker project, happy with progress? Is it sticking along?
Yeah, generally happy that there have been some, the firmer ground conditions have meant that they can't drive the piles as far as they might. So they've had to make a few, structural changes to that, which is sort of possible bit. But it's in some ways finding firm ground is better than finding soft ground, but it's different to the design. So far so good. Yeah.
Pretty impressive. You can stand on the other side of the fences and have a look on the
Big
trail.
piece of engineering
It's
there.
pretty impressive.
Yeah. And that's
it. Okay. Any other questions of Aileen? I think Peter's covered his off. Okay. All right. So we've received the report. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. Thank you, Aileen. Much appreciated. Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please, to move to public excluded? Rebecca and John, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. So we'll wait for a moment while we go through the process of public excluded.
it was self-excluding.
Oh,